Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the sixth selection in our mini-series, Fantastic Foodie Films, a biographical documentary, Jiro Dreams of Sushi, 2011, written, directed, and photographed by David Gelb with Jiro Ono and Yoshikazu Ono. This film tells the story of the 85-year-old Japanese master chef, Jiro Ono, who has dedicated his life to mastering the art of sushi making. Jiro owns and operates a world-renowned sushi restaurant with 3 Michelin stars and only 10 seats, Tsukiyabashi Jiro, located conveniently in the basement of an office building in Tokyo's Ginza district, right near an entrance to the city's subway line. Although the restaurant looks humble, its reputation is stellar. Gelb came up with the idea to do a documentary about sushi making and sushi restaurants while still a student at the USC Film School, where he met and became friendly with his classmate Brendan Driscoll Lutringer, who later edited this film. Gelb knew he wanted to make a film about sushi, not from a Food Network viewpoint, but as a study of a fine art form. Together, the two young men traveled to Tokyo to research sushi restaurants. And when they were introduced to Jiro Ono by a well-known Japanese food writer and Jiro fan, they knew that Jiro's story was so compelling that it should become the sole focus of their nascent movie. The result was an homage to the art of sushi making and an Academy Award-winning film for Best Documentary, which offered a warm portrait of a man who has dedicated his life to his craft and to a lifelong search for absolute perfection. The film got a 99% rating on Rotten Tomatoes and was called beautiful, thoughtful, and engrossing. Jiro Dreams of Sushi was also a commercial success. It earned about $2.5 million at the North American box office upon its release. Jiro Dreams of Sushi also depicts Jiro's 2 sons, Takashi and Yoshikazu, who are also trained sushi chefs. Both men had wanted to go to college, but their father would not permit it, instead bringing them into his restaurant as apprentices, with an eye to their someday taking over for him when he retired. The younger son, Takashi, was shipped off at age 40 to Roppongi Hills to operate a spin-off of the flagship restaurant, while the older son, Yoshikazu, at age 50, was still working at Jiro's side, waiting for him to step down and relinquish control. Yoshikazu is a master chef in his own right, but he works patiently side by side with his father, shouldering more and more of the responsibility of running the business. During the course of the film, we are treated to beautiful scenes of sushi and its preparation, and stunning photographic montages of Tokyo street scenes and the Tsukiji fish market. Gelb did his own photography, and the results are elegant vignettes which incorporate slow motion and high-speed shots, double exposures, and wide-angle shots. Jiro and his staff were very cordial to Gelb, allowing him and his crew full access to the restaurant during meal service, tolerating lights and cameras in the tiny space, and enabling him to film without disturbing the chefs at work. This allowed him to easily portray Jiro's cadre of assistants and his large group of apprentices going about their daily tasks in a perfectly natural way. Gelb comes from a highly cultured New York family. His father was the manager of the Metropolitan Opera. His grandfather was a writer, and his grandmother was a writer, and his grandfather was, for a time, the managing editor of the New York Times. His grandmother's uncle was the famed pianist Jascha Heifetz. He left New York to attend USC, following his education with forays into documentary production. He's a big fan of the music of Philip Glass, including many of Glass's works on his playlist while he was living in the college dorms with his buddy, the now editor of this film. As a result, the soundtrack of the film includes several Glass pieces, along with some well-known works by Bach, Mozart, and Tchaikovsky. To prepare for shooting the film, he took sushi-making lessons from Yoshikazu Ono in order to appreciate the finer points of the craft, and then took 2 weeks to film the action in the kitchen. He worked alone with a camera and one translator, bringing no cameras into the kitchen for the first day in order to give the staff time to get used to his presence. The editing process which followed actually took 10 long months. Plot summary. Jiro Ono is a 3-star Michelin chef who owns a world-famous sushi restaurant in the Ginza district of Tokyo. His lifelong ambition has been to achieve complete perfection in the art of making sushi. Every piece of sushi must be better than the last. This requires a dedication to the use of the finest ingredients and knowing their origins and sustainability, and incredible manual skills to create the exquisite morsels that are served to his customers. His oldest son and heir works faithfully beside him, waiting to inherit the business when his father is finally ready for retirement. But at 85 years of age, Jiro is going strong, commanding a corps of assistant chefs and apprentices who labor 10 hours a day to serve their customer Jiro's 30,000 yen chef's recommended special course 20-piece prix-fixe menu, which is the only meal they serve. Fun facts about the film. The word sushi refers to the rice, not to the fish or any other toppings. Jiro's shoyu comes from the province of Kyoto-fu. It's known for its extraordinary rich texture and subtle flavors. It's perfectly acceptable to eat sushi with your fingers and slurp your noodles. It's a compliment to the chef. Jiro served Barack Obama and Shinzo Abe at his restaurant on April 23, 2014. President Obama said it was the best sushi he had ever seen. David Gelb was 28 years old when he made Jiro Dreams of Sushi, and Jiro was 85. Jiro is right-handed. His son Takashi is left-handed. The restaurants they run are designed at mirror images to accommodate them as they hand off each piece of sushi to their customers. Jiro's apprentices train for 10 years before they're sent out into the world to make their way. Each octopus used for the sushi is hand-massaged in liquid to soften it for serving. The assistant preparing the rice places it in a special insulated pot to keep it at the appropriate temperature. Jiro makes his own blend of shoyu. In the staff lunch scene, an apprentice demonstrates the correct technique for dipping the sushi into shoyu. The sushi must be turned upside down so the shoyu touches only the fish. In high-end sushi parlors such as Jiro's, the chef paints seasoning on the fish with a brush so the customer doesn't need to add any additional soy sauce. Professional sushi knives are sharpened symmetrically, with the large angle on the right side for right-handed chefs and the left side for southpaws. These knives can be seen in the montage of close-ups after the breakfast scene. It takes only 30 minutes to consume Jiro's 30,000 yen menu, because all the sushi must be eaten quickly. One cannot linger over this food, because each piece is put down as soon as the diner consumes the previous one. Yoshikazu's car is an Audi RS6 Quattro with all-wheel drive and a 5.0 twin-turbine engine. Things to look for: the rice-making scene, the apprentice massaging the octopus, the scene of sushi making, cutting the fish, painting it with seasoning, scenes of making the egg topping for sushi, the Tsukiji fish market montage, Yoshikazu's car, street scene montages, professional sushi knives, the tuna auction, the soundtrack loaded with Philip Glass pieces. At the end of the film, do you think Jiro is ready to accept his son, Yoshikazu, as his successor? Now sit back, folks. It's time to watch Jiro Dreams of Sushi. Remember, it may take a few minutes for the film to roll. Enjoy.